Coach, just your overall thoughts of the session tonight. A lot to look at.
Yeah. I was very pleased. I thought with the guys had a good mindset. You could tell there wasn't a lot of they didn't lack focus. I thought maybe in the first scrimmage a little bit. We got out of the gate and where do we go, kind of milling around. I thought those guys had a good focus to them. I felt that even earlier today when I was kind of walking through the locker room. So I thought that they were trying to simulate a game situation in their mind, and I was pleased with that. Situationally, we did a nice job of getting out of the backed up situation early on. There was 3 things that stood out to me from a penalty standpoint that I thought really hurt us. We had a good drive going with the ones when we were in the backed up situation, and we got a penalty on 2nd and 10 and ended up 2nd and 15, and we weren't able to convert that. And so we had a chance to maybe get something going there, and just a mental error right there that cost us. And then in the 2-minute situation that we had a 3rd and long, actually it was 4th and extra long, and we jumped off sides defensively, and we gave them the opportunity to convert that 4th down, and they went down and got the field goal. And then Cam Sutton just made a bad choice down there at the end, blocking the back. I don't like to see guys take bad shots on their own teammates, and I don't think it was intentional at all, but something that we can learn from. And obviously, who knows, Chris may have scored on that regardless, and so now we're backed up again and we have to settle for a field goal. So those were really good, I think, teaching moments for our guys, and those are the kind of things that we're going to focus on. Other than that, it was fairly clean. We had a holding penalty, probably could have called a couple more, I felt like, but that's okay. But we'll correct those off of film. I thought there was, with the exception of maybe, I felt like we had 2 situations where we blew a coverage, and the offense didn't take advantage of one of them. We didn't have a post safety in one of our coverages one time, and I think Ben missed the throw, and so that was one thing that I didn't. I would almost like to see us hit that just so we can say, listen, this can't happen. And so sometimes you get that false sense of security just because the offense doesn't expose what you're doing wrong. That doesn't mean you're not doing it wrong. And so I felt like that was something that we've got to clean up and be better at. By and large, I thought our tackling was good. I liked the level of physicality. Even when throws were made and catches were made, by and large, we're putting guys on the ground. They throw a 12-yard route, they get 12 yards. And although I did think there were some times where the receivers did a nice job of yards after the catch. And the other thing is defensively, we only forced 1 turnover. And so good job by the offense, not good enough for us on that side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball.
Number 1 offense moved the ball well and got inside the 10 3 different times. We only converted 1 of the touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you think of the way that?
Well, one of those was by design because we were in a 2-minute situation,
right.
And so we just. It was great for me. I'm just going to say, what am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to go ahead and let this thing. We're on the 2-yard line. Why risk another? Because really, we ran the play, and I felt like Chad might have fumbled. Right. And so, I'm not going to risk that at that point. Let's kick the field goal. So, so really, they were probably, if we let it play, they did their job in 2 of the 3 situations, and the 3rd one, we missed the field goal. So, thought it was pretty good, and we need a couple more explosive plays. That's one thing that stood out. We didn't have maybe some of the explosives that we'd like to see on the offensive side of the ball, but I thought they operated within the offense well. We were able to mix tempos in one of the drives, and I thought Courtney did a really nice job, because I'm in his ear, all right, let's go, and for him to just be able to bounce into that and come to the call, and so I was pleased with that. So I thought there were some real positives.
Chad's 2 carries inside the 7. They're both Josh Hill in on both of those stops. What did you think of his?
Josh is just a tough physical kid. As he gets, what I saw was the work that he put in over the summer, because I like him as a player, but he just was, he's $190, $195, and now he's up over 210, and I think he's that confidence that he's from the hard work that he's putting in the weight room, coupled with the fact that he's a fearless kid. I mean, that's just his mentality is allowing him to be a guy that can step up and play for us, and we need that. And so I think Josh has had a really good camp. I'll tell you another guy I think's had a really good camp, kind of an unsung guy, is Noah James. I mean, I think that guy's done some really positive things for us, and is going to be a guy that's going to be critical for us with those running backs take a lot of abuse, and so you're going to have a number of them, and so I've been pleased with him.
An extended look at Chris Murray again, another good scrimmage from him. Where does he kind of fit into all of this?
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting conversation. He's just interesting. It's like he's just California cool. He just has that. I'm like, you watch the clock, and he's like, gives me the old thumbs up, like, I got this, coach, don't worry about it, And so he's a very unique athlete. You can see when he gets in the open field, he's got great vision. I'm not going to say he's the fastest guy on the team, but I wouldn't want anybody else to race him. I mean, I think his straight ahead speed is pretty special. And so, we just got to have that conversation about, the whole thing is what's best for Chris, what's best for the program. And if those two things match up, then that's a good thing. And you know, I don't think he's quite ready to run the whole gamut, you know, in terms of what we'd ask him to do. But there might be an opportunity for him to have a package, and we just got to discuss that.
On the touch,
He's mobile. He's so mobile, but he also has great pocket presence. Is that something that's rare for him?
I just think he's a unique kid. I think he, you know, one thing about Chris is probably you guys might not even know. So he actually, you know, he's 17 years old. He won't turn 18 until October. And he was 13. He was a 4-year starter at Lawndale. He was actually 13 when he started playing quarterback at Lawndale High School in LA. And you have to be 14 to play, so he had to wait until he was 14 to get back on the field. And so it's not like he hasn't been in this, you know, he's kind of comfortable with the setting, and I think that's just something that's, you know, because he's played that position for a long time and has that confidence and that kind of that swagger about him.
on the touchdown pass from Tyler to Johnny. Some really good touch on that pass.
Yeah.
It looked like.
Well, I just thought that drive, I loved that drive because we started out, we were in huddle mode and we moved the ball down. We got our first down, we increased our tempo, and then we were able to pull it back in and get the right call in the red zone. That was one of my complaints after the last scrimmage was, you know, we didn't convert in the red zone, and so I really liked seeing us, you know, take that shot, and Johnny obviously made a great catch, adjusted to the ball, and I thought Tyler put the ball where he needed to too.
Is that one of Tyler's best attributes, maybe putting the ball where only his receiver can
Well, I
get
think,
to
you know, it comes back to kind of my 3 attributes of a quarterback, right? It's you know, decision-making, accuracy, and leadership, and so I think that, you know, knowing where to go with the ball and then putting it in a spot where again, our guys can make a play on it and their guys can't, and I think he's improved a great deal on that. I think he did a nice job. A really hard route to defend is you know, just a lot of times in college football, you don't see guys that throw those hitches to the field as much or the curl routes to the field. And Tyler's got a strong enough arm to throw it. I mean, we could have probably just gone down the field and thrown that to I think it was JP. He hit him on 3 or 4 of those during the course of the scrimmage. And because you're going to play off coverage there because you're worried about the vertical route. And so there's a lot of things that I thought Tyler did that maybe didn't look spectacular to the naked eye, but you're going, okay, that's a good decision. That's where we want to go with the ball, and that's going to keep us on the field.
Hoping to get some clarity in the kicking game today. What did you see there?
Yeah, you know, I think Devin has kind of been the steady guy, and you know, I expect him to be a guy that's going to go. And then Jared, I think, you know, you see he's got a little bit hit and miss at times, but he's a freshman, and so this was a critical opportunity for him to get in front of a few folks and a little bit more of a game environment. And the one thing I really like about Jared is that he does seem to bounce back fairly quickly. You know, he doesn't let a negative play or negative kick affect him for a long time. And then, you know, the Peppinger kid he's got a really strong leg, and so, you know, I mean, we're probably going to keep all 3 of those guys up and just, you know, I mean, we got to do what we got to do.
You ran some nice running back screens. What do you like about the athleticism of your offensive linemen when you run those sort of plays?
Well, I mean, you know, by design, you're trying to take advantage of an aggressive defense, and so I do think that we've got some guys that can get out in space and move a little bit. You know, Dylan does a great job. He's a very athletic kid, and that's probably his best attribute is his feet and his athleticism. And you know, JP runs pretty good for an inside guy, and so those are guys that we like to get out in space. And obviously, if we're playing a team that's going to be really aggressive up front, we've got to be able to counter that.
Cam Sutton had a great block on one of Anthony's
He did.
runs.
Yeah, he finished the corner pretty good. I mean, you know, I think Cam's he's growing day by day. You know, I've seen a lot of maturity in him. You know, he went from being kind of a borderline student his first semester to being over a 3.0 this last semester. And I think Cam would be the first one to say he's still got a long way to go. But if he'll have just have that open heart and take coaching and continue to improve, he's got a tremendous skill set.
What do you like about Kahari, maybe a punt returner?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was one of those things that kind of came out of the spring that, you know, we do a number of different drills, and you look and you go, well, this guy's pretty natural catching the ball, and he does seem to have good vision, which, you know, for a safety, that's one thing that they do have. They have good field presence and vision, and so I thought that was a good combination. You know, we've tried a number of guys back there, and he seems to be kind of the most consistent guy because the most important thing on that play is possession. And so that's where it starts, and then, you know, hopefully you got a guy that can do some other things once he gets the ball.
The headphones worked.
They
How
did.
How did that change things?
I mean, it threw me off completely. No, I think that's, you know, Scott Gifford and Justin did a great job this week. Spent a lot of time on the telephone with Coach Com and making sure that stuff's right. That's why we do these things, you know, and you got to be ready for every eventuality. So I thought the communication was good. I didn't see, you know, a lot of times you'll see some chaotic communication issues, and I didn't really feel that. I felt like our guys were pretty composed and did a nice job of staying where we needed to stay. And you could kind of see that. I think our kids, you know, it was interesting because at times there was these lulls, you know, which is by the nature of the scrimmage, because you're not, you know, you don't have the full game day experience and all that kind of stuff. But I just thought our coaches did a really nice job of staying poised and composed and going to the next play and not freaking out about, you know, whether that freshman was aligned correctly or not. Let's just go fix it off the film.
Shiloh and Jesse both touch sacks. What do you think the pass rush overall did?
I thought we improved. And I thought there was some, I was actually pleased. I kind of know that those guys are going to bring that element to us, but I thought there were some things that we did up front, mixing in a few new line games, and I saw some interior guys do a better job of getting on edges than I've seen. And so I think that's something we've got to continue to work on. I mean, we've got to be able to not let us, we can't cover for 6 seconds, you know, so we've got to be able to do a good job of leveraging the quarterback and affecting his ability to step up in the pocket and throw. And I know that's something that we focused on as we develop our nickel package.
Jesse's really natural at that, but Shiloh seems like he's made so much progress. Where has he grown the most?
Shiloh?
Yeah, Shiloh.
Yeah, you know, we've kind of moved him around a little bit. We had him at Buck for a while. We had him at End in the spring, and so he's a guy that's is a pretty good natural pass rusher. He's got pretty fluid hips and you know, active hands, and does a nice job as a pass rusher. But he's also, you know, 245, 250 pounds, so he can hold up a little bit better if we need to slide him down inside. And so his versatility, I think, is probably the thing that makes him most valuable to us. And you know, he's a tough guy. You know, I mean, I like his edge. I like his mentality.
Where do we go from here now in the next couple of days?
Yeah. So I think what's going to have to happen here in the next couple of days, and really starting tomorrow, is we're going to have those conversations about, okay, let's put our best 11 on the board on offense and defense. Okay, now who's the next best 11? All right, well, who do we have to have based on things that we've got to be able to do? And so we've got to get closer to that. You know, it doesn't have to be 58. We can take 70 to Idaho. So we've got to get closer to a number that we feel like we can go travel with. And because really what it's got to be is we got to start paring down the reps for some of these guys. They've got to start understanding their role. And as we get into game plan, we can really only get a handful of guys ready to play each position. So
Inside defensive line, what did you think of that spot?
I thought Tucker had a really good day. I was really pleased with him. Matt Brownlow is kind of a guy, again, he's kind of come out of nowhere and has done some amazing things. I mean, you know, the guy has always kind of been, I mean, he's a glue guy on this team. He's a tremendous teammate, but now he's actually doing some really good things as a football player as well, and so I think that's awesome. I talked about Zach Wright a number of times. I feel like he's had a really good camp. And so I think, you know, Hayashi and Foe flashed at times today, did some really good things, and we're going to meet those guys. And so it's interesting. You know, there's some freshmen that I'm going, I'd like to redshirt, but he might, you know, if we just play him, he might be better than that guy down the road. So those are talking about what John was talking about, those are the tough conversations that we've got to have. Now, the good news is, as I said, I don't have to 100% make that decision right away.
The hit that Holmes put on Sullivan, pretty solid, knocked the ball out.
Yeah.
That might be the best example of what you're talking about secondary, getting guys to the ground right away. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that? I mean, that was kind of the hit of the day.
Yeah, no, that was, I mean, I thought Sidney, he played that very well and was aggressive on it and got the ball out. But I saw Bryce make some good open field tackles. I mean, Jake Hadley, I think it might have been Kevin Cassis in the open field, and he put that guy down. I mean, and, you know, if he doesn't, it's a touchdown. And that's a tough tackle to make. And so that gives me a lot of, you know, it says all the things that we've worked on over and over and over and over again, and the emphasis that we placed on tackling is starting to show up. We've still got to do a better job of taking angles in the open field. That was something that showed up in the last scrimmage. It was slightly better today, but towards the end, as we got fatigued, I saw some of those mistakes pop their head up again. And so, yeah, I think, you know, I'm proud of our coaches. I'm proud of these kids. I think they've pushed through a fairly physical stretch. And we've still got a good stretch. Like I told them out there, they were hooting and hollering. I think it was a Bronx cheer because I said, hey, we've got, you know, 7:15 tomorrow treatment. We're going to practice, and don't forget we got a double on Sunday. That's when they were so excited. So,